everyone, welcome to AfroHub by me, Boy. In this video, we'll be doing a book review, one of many book reviews to come. For this video, I'll be reviewing I Write What I Like by Steve Biko. Let's get into it. We're going to be starting a reading culture. We're going to be reading Afro books, Black conscious inspired African knowledge. It's now April, meaning that we're left with 8 more months. So each and every month we'll be reading a different book, and then at the end of that month I'll be reviewing the book, and then you guys can review with me on the comment section. So we can start even now. So you need to go on my Instagram, and then you'll just keep checking there as to what book we'll be reading for the month of May. Alright. So this is a way that we'll be promoting a reading culture. We'll put so much pressure on us to be reading a book, and this will mean that we'll be reading 8 books for the year 2020. For me, that would be like breaking a record. Yeah, man, let's create this reading culture. Let's create this knowledge sharing hub. Super excited.
I Write What I Like contains a selection of writings by Steve Biko from 1969, when he became president of the South African Students' Organization, to 1972, when he was prohibited from writing.
In the book, Steve Biko highlights that in order for Black South Africans, because remember that the book was written during apartheid times, so he reinforces his belief that in order for Black people to experience true salvation and true liberation is only when they come together and they become a united front, and that true liberation will only come once their minds are free. In the book, he removes the mask of apartheid and he exposes it as it is. And I love how he talks to all different races, and he not only highlights the problems, because he's very good at that, way he highlights each and every challenge and how each race is contributing negatively to the struggle. And he also shows each race. So he shows the problems, and then he also comes up with a solution. And one of the number one solutions that Steve Biko believes in is Black consciousness, which he's like I don't want to say he's the main philosopher behind Black consciousness, but he was one of the most vocal when it comes to Black consciousness. The book is so well written that, you know, for the readers, and also I was just finding so many quotes. Like, the book has got so many quotes that you as the reader, you're very spoiled, because each and every segment is quotable.
The themes that are covered in this book are Blackness, racism, liberation, power, oppression, and subjugation. All of these themes are all intertwined in the book, and as you go out through the book, you will pick them up.
Not that I'm picking any sides, but my only criticism on the book is that it ends. I think everyone needs to read it. It's still, you know, the beauty about the book is that it's still relevant even today.
Black consciousness was one of his special inspiration. Steve Biko had the firm belief that the Black person is equal to any other, and that it's all in the mind, and that once we're liberated in our minds, then we can claim our rightful place in society. From the book, we also learned more about Steve Biko and how he wished that black man and woman claim their rightful place in society, and that they stop the inferiority complex. And on the next segment, when I'm showing you guys the quotes, you'll be able to see from the quotes where he says that black consciousness aims to give life to the black man and to regain his confidence, and so that he forgives himself for all the wrongdoings that were done onto himself, and to reclaim who they are, you know. So it's all about black empowerment and just dealing with the mind, because all that the black person went through crippled a lot of their mind. I'll also share Steve Biko's biography, where you guys can just click there and then you can check more about him, his birth, his painful death. For Steve Biko, and I'll quote from the book, "Black consciousness is a way of life, the most positive call to come out of the black world for a long time. It is not a hyperbole, it is not a political rhetoric. It is revolutionary, it is the future." Like I explained before, black consciousness aims to give life to the black man, and a lot during the apartheid times, black people were very helpless. Most of them were not seeing a way out of the situation that they were in. And Steve Biko used the philosophy of black consciousness to give life to the people, to make them fall in love with themselves again. He wanted them to be able to take all these aspects that they were lacking on because of the system, and be able to make it their own, and then bring back to their communities, because his aim was to improve the black communities, so that as the black person, you don't have to go to another race or another area with a different race, but rather improve where you are. And that was the ideology behind black consciousness. I'll share with you guys quotes that I found meaningful in the book, and then you guys in the comment section also share with me your favorite quotes from the book. Okay. Steve Biko says, "Instead of involving themselves in an all-out attempt to stamp out racism from their white society, liberals waste a lot of time trying to prove to as many blacks as they can find that they are liberal. This arises out of the false belief that we are faced with a black problem. There is nothing the matter with blacks. The problem is white racism, and it rests squarely on the laps of the white society. The sooner liberals realize this, the better for us blacks. White liberals must leave blacks to take care of their own business while they concern themselves with the real evil in our society, white racism." I love how brutal he is on the book when speaking about the truth. I love how unapologetic he is. As much as this quote might sound uncomfortable to some people, but there's more truth in the quote. If you're reading to understand, then you also gain some wisdom from him. I love this quote. I feel like when people now, I'm sure like how I've explained Biko, then people are like, but he's racist. Does that mean that he didn't want a rainbow nation? Did he want to eliminate white people? Like, what was his problem? So I feel like this quote, he explains properly by what he was fighting for. "Does this mean that I'm against integration? If by integration you understand a breakthrough into white society by blacks, an assimilation and acceptance of blacks into an already established set of norms, codes of behavior, set up by and maintained by whites, then yes, I'm against it. I'm against the superior-inferior white-black stratification that make the white a perpetual teacher and a black a perpetual pupil, and a poor one at that. I'm against the intellectual arrogance of white people that makes them believe that white leadership is a sine qua non in this country, and that whites are divinely appointed pace setters in progress. I am against the fact that a settler minority should impose an entire system of values on an indigenous people. If, on the other hand, by integration, you mean there shall be free participation by all members of society, catering for the full expression of the self in a freely changing society as determined by the will of the people, then I am with you. For one cannot escape the fact that the culture shared by the majority group on any given society must ultimately determine the broad direction taken by the joint culture of that society. This need not cramp the style of those who feel differently, but in a whole, a country in Africa in which the majority of people are African must inevitably exhibit African values and be truly African style. I don't think it needs an explanation. Lastly, just one of the quotes where he touches on also religion, because remember that black people were also oppressed not only by politics but also on the religious side. He says, and you'll find this on page 45 of the book, where they could, they conquered by persuasion, using a highly exclusive religion that denounced all other gods and demanded a strict code of behavior with respect to clothing, education, ritual, and custom. Where it was possible to convert, where it was impossible to convert, firearms were readily available and used to advantage. Hence, the Anglo-Boer culture was the more powerful culture in almost all facets. This is where the African began to lose grip on himself and his surroundings. Yeah. I Write What I Like by Steve Biko, for me, was revolutionary. It's just one of those books. I was also reading what other people were saying about it. One person was like, I read it once and then I read it again, and there are some things that I missed. And on the second time I read it, I learned something else. And there was also a lady who was saying that she, as a white South African, learned a lot about, what black people went through, and she learned a lot about what she can do in her own space, because she says that she felt useless, that there's nothing she can do, and the only thing is that she was just benefiting from what was left for her. And I thought that was very beautiful, because it shows you that anyone can read this book. I would give this book a 5 out of 5, strongly because of the message behind it. It covers everything that the African goes through, and I think it gives a very brutal image of the type of society that they were living in back then. It's very relevant to today. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you did love what you saw, please do consider subscribing. Give the video a thumbs up. Once you've subscribed, don't forget to turn on your notification bell so that you can get all my videos. Also, on the comment section, you'll be mentioning what your favorite quote, if you read the book before, If you haven't, I'd recommend that you go and get it. And once you have, you can just engage with us on the comment section where you'll tell us what you loved about the book. And also on the comment section, if you guys can just include recommendations of books that we should be reading and our next book for the next month. Yeah, guys, that's all from me. And I'll see you on my next video.